everyone. Today we will discuss this chapter living creatures and their surroundings. So here we see plants. We will go to the section of plants. Two main characters, living and non-living. Now plants move from one place to another, but they do show some kind of movement. Movement जैसे कि a sunflower facing towards the sun. And we can also take the example of Mimosa pudica, which we'll learn further. Now let's move further. Animals move to find food, water and shelter. Living organisms produce their own kind. It is known as reproduction. Living things need food to grow, whereas plants need sunlight, water and nutrition to grow. Now we have divided this in two sections, plants and animals. Plants को क्या चाहिए? Nutrition. They do not need whole food. They only need the nutrition from it. Whereas animals need food to grow, water, whereas plants need sun, nutrition and water. The removal of excess or harmful waste, the animals urinate. Now let's move on to the next page. Living things practice Mrs. Nurk. अब मैं बताती हूँ, ये एक तरीका है. The following things that are practiced by human. Mrs. Nurk ये है, जिसको अभी हम समझाने वाले हैं. How to practice. Now M stands for movement. Mrs. Nurk you can assume as a lady. So M stands for movement, whereas R stands for reproduction. S stands for stimuli or response to stimuli. N stands for need nutrition and only nutrition. You can learn whereas you want, however you want. E stands for excretion. R stands for respiration and D stands for growth. This is the way I've told you. एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका जिससे आप याद कर सकते हो ये. Next we move on to Mimosa pudica, which I also mentioned earlier. Mimosa pudica, commonly known as touch me not. अब ये प्लांट क्या करता है? This closes its leaves. अभी ऐसे दिख रहा है. If we see it from standing, अगर इन पे पानी की बूंद पड़े या कोई भी sensation या कोई भी sensor kind of होते हैं ये. अब if they feel anything or if we touch them, they close their leaves in response to rain, touch, protecting itself from potential damage or excess water loss. Now here we see this picture of a seed growing into a new baby plant. Now how this works: seed, sprout. We see first one is seed, then sprout, then seedling, and then it grows into a new baby plant. Let's move on to the next page, image and their explanation. Now here we see a sketch, seed germination. Here we see first is radicle, first is seed, then it grows into a radicle, then it grows a bit and then grows into a new leaf, pumule. Now it grows into a new baby plant as I mentioned earlier. Now ये मैंने बता चुका है, seed, sprout, seedling and plant. Let's move on to the next page. Now we come to the part of animals. Life cycle of a mosquito, frog and moth. Larvae, usually long and wriggle, move around in the water. Pupae, these are short and look more curled up. Now stages in the life cycle of a mosquito. Let's zoom into the picture. Here we see egg. Note down that eggs of frog and mosquito are in the form of clusters. Mostly we talk about frog eggs are in cluster form. Now here we see long and wriggle about larva. Now pupa, more curled up as I said. Then adult mosquito, which we all know. Let's move on to the life cycle of frog. Egg, tadpole, froglet and frog. Let's zoom into the picture. This is what I call a cluster. Then there is a tadpole, then a froglet and then a frog. Now what is metamorphosis? Here यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? It turns from froglet to a frog. अभी जो आपको tail दिख रही है ये कहाँ गई? In a frog can we see a tail? No. ये works as a nutrition. Now ये जो आपको tail दिख रही है ये कहीं गायब नहीं हुई है, cut off नहीं हुई है. ये क्या हुआ है? ये frog की body में उसको metamorphically मतलब जल्दी से बड़ा होने में help करती है. It works as a nutrition for a frog. Now let's move to extra knowledge. Here we see here. Frog eggs are soft, squishy like, jelly like, and like the hard shell eggs of a chicken. Whereas soft eggs जो है frog की उनको मैं ऐसे कुछ चल सकती हूँ, मगर chicken eggs are hard shelled and more bit stronger. Now here we see embryo stages is shortest as it lasts only for a few stages. Embryo stage ये वाली जो egg के अंदर होती है. Tadpole lives only in water. As they grow into a froglet, an adult frog, they start living on land. Now here we see a frog. यहाँ पे frog फ्रॉग की पिक्चर दिख रही होगी, एडल्ट फ्रॉग. नाउ एक एडल्ट फ्रॉग में क्या होता है, अब ये हमने जो टैडपोल देखा है इसमें लंग्स हैं, मगर फ्रॉग में देयर आर नो लंग्स, बट हाउ दे ब्रीथ, दिस इज द मेन क्वेश्चन. तो अब जो ये ब्रीथ करते हैं व्हेन दे ग्रो फ्रॉम अ टैडपोल फ्रॉगलेट, देन अ फ्रॉग में आ जाते हैं, डेवलप हो जाते हैं लंग्स. दिस इज नोन एज मेटामॉर्फिक चेंजेस. अब चेंजेस तो हमें भी होते हैं मगर दे आर एडोलेसेंस. अब हमारे एक टांग गायब तो नहीं हो सकती है, सो देयर आर नोन एज मेटामॉर्फिक चेंजेस, जो कि जैसे इसकी टेल गायब हो गई है. नाउ इन फ्रॉग ये जो अपनी स्किन है उससे मॉइस्चरस स्किन है इनकी, इससे ये ऑक्सीजन एब्जॉर्ब करता है, वेराज लंग्स से लैंड पे ब्रीथ करता है. Now, stages in the life cycle of a moth. This may come in your exam. So, adult moth. Here we see an adult moth. Then eggs. These are mulberry eggs. Let's note down. These are mulberry eggs. Now, in mulberry eggs, they feed mulberry leaves. Mulberry leaves के feed करता है, जिन पे ये जिन mulberry leaves पे ये eggs lay करता है, उन्हीं को feed करता है, and then these are like larva. Larva है ये. Up now we see pupa in cocoon. This is pupa, and here outside layer ये अंदर का दिखा रहा है, and this is outside cocoon. Now then it grows out, cracks the cocoon and grows into an adult moth. Let's move on to the next page. This is self hand drawn of a representation. How can you draw it in your exam? Adult moth, just like a butterfly. Then you can show simple leaves, no need to show like mulberry leaves or be artistic, and avoid shading. These are our eggs, make them more a bit closer and small. Now this is larva. You do not need to draw and like this droplet of water shown here in the picture, this one. You just need to make it simpler. Then pupa and cocoon. Do not forget to write this, pupa in cocoon, not only cocoon. Then it grows into an adult frog. Thank you.